What an extraordinary fortnight it's been. There's no doubt at all that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's disgrace is unique. There's also no question that most people didn't see some of this coming, but it absolutely had to happen because after the statement put out by the palace, but worded by Andrew, it was clumsy, it showed no remorse, nothing to do with Epstein's victims or victims of abuse. The facts are that we know he denies all the charges against him and has not been found guilty of anything. But the king at least dealt with the major obstacles, certainly as far as the public were concerned, at least to the end of the crisis at the moment. Prince, he's no longer a prince. His dukedom in abeyance until his death, in which case it reverts to the crown. It'll be a long time, if ever, I think, before there's another Duke of York. HRH no longer has it. The Garter Premier Order, his banner's been taken down at St. George's Chapel, which is its spiritual home. There is the question of him being eighth in line to the throne. The only change there can occur when all 14 realms that King Charles rules over pass that through Parliament. So that can't be done quickly. Regarding Council of State, it would only apply if the king was absent or ill to working royals. So that doesn't apply to him. And he's out of Royal Lodge. That was not going to be easy because he had a 75-year lease. He paid the equivalent of £8.5 million for the so-called peppercorn rent, and if he kept the building up, he couldn't be removed, or so we were told. Well, he's going to find a billet at Sandringham in Norfolk, and Sarah Ferguson, his ex-wife, supposedly devoted, well, she's been banished, and high time. They deserve each other, quite frankly. They attempt to fund a level of expenditure, a lifestyle that they could not afford. Hence the fact that all these dubious and bizarre and weird and utterly undesirable friends. The fact that Andrew is now a proven liar, having been exposed in an email as being in contact with Epstein longer than he claimed he was in Newsnight, and also Sarah Ferguson is a proven liar because she was in contact with Epstein after she promised not to be, when it was revealed he'd lent her, or given her actually, £15,000. Well, if perhaps you believe that's all there is to it, there's almost certainly going to be a huge amount more to it. Andrew Lowney's book entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York, the central charge is that Andrew, who was Special Representative for British Trade after he left the Navy, and Sarah Ferguson when she was a working royal, and of course they've remained together even if they were divorced. She was at Royal Lodge since I think it was 2008, that they have used their public positions for private gain. That's the central charge, and that's one of the reasons that, apart from the deceased paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and of course the convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell, the list of friends, the alleged Chinese spy Yang Tengbo, and individuals from various dictatorial countries. The facts are that And without any doubt at all, Sarah Ferguson did have a lot of sympathy because of the way she was able to bounce back from all sorts of scandals. I mean, she offered access to Andrew in 2010 for £500,000 to a so-called fake shake in the Sting. That would have cost a lot of people their jobs, or as far as she was concerned, she was able to bounce back, as she did from the toe-sucking episode in the 1990s, and also there were endless debts. All of this is not only undesirable, but hopefully she might go abroad, because she has an extraordinary amount of tenacity when it comes to making comebacks, but is thoroughly bad news in my opinion. So far as Andrew's future, well, there's always the possibility. He's not likely to, but he could testify and help the FBI, who want to find others in Epstein's network. He could do charitable work. It doesn't also, unfortunately, seem likely. It's the only way he could possibly, he's only mid-60s, he could possibly get any public respect back in the future. He hasn't been found guilty of anything, and he denies all the charges against him. But the recent posthumous memoir of Virginia Giuffre, Nobody's Girl, she accused him of sexually assaulting her on 3 occasions, and he settled a civil case, reportedly for some £12 million. Nonetheless, there's a photograph that he's never been able to explain away, with his arm around her, and basically the last poll rating were 4%, so nobody believes him. And it's come to just Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. What's in a name? Well, the answer is a very great deal, because all of this, there was tremendous public pressure. Handling of the last 2.5 weeks, yes, the royal family have been absolute in the way they've ended it. And it was distracting from a lot of the valuable work they're doing, whether it is to charitable work or whether it's soft power projection to our friends and allies abroad. But there's no doubt there was a lot of public discontent, and parliamentary discontent too. Parliament was getting very restive. Andrew's initial message put through the palace, it was clumsily worded, and it stirred things up. At least the message that came from the King and Queen was a message that the royal family does sympathise with victims of abuse, and also that they can take extremely strong and unprecedented action, even if belatedly, against someone like Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. But where will it go next? What about the Epstein files? What about the police investigation into what Andrew is supposed to have asked his police protection officer to do? There will be more, much, much more.